Tensions running high within the Grand Rapids City Commission as officials debate the city's police budget. And new research could challenge how we fight the coronavirus, what scientists are saying about how the virus is spread. It's 6 o'clock and you're up with 13.
You're watching 13 on your side.
Good morning, West Michigan. I'm James. It is Wednesday, July 8th. Thank you so much for waking up with us. And of course, it is 6 a.m. And as you can see behind me, bright and early, as meteorologist Elena Nearing is outside right now with a first check of your forecast. Good morning, Elena. News this morning, Wyoming police are looking for the suspect in an overnight shooting at a gas station parking lot. And that's where we find our Angela Cunningham live this morning. Angela, what can you tell us about what happened overnight? We're also following some more breaking news from overnight. The city of Grand Rapids has approved funding changes for the police department. That discussion lasted well past midnight and focused on defunding the police, which has become a nationwide debate following the death of George Floyd and other black people at the hands of police. One proposal would reduce funding to 32% of the city's budget. Right now, around 38% is approved for the 2021 fiscal year, which equals about $55 million. But after hours of heated debate, city leaders were unable to come to an agreement. Instead, they approved plans to create 3 civilian positions within the police department, which would reallocate about $400,000 in the existing budget. Now, while one piece of police reform was approved last night, not everyone is on board, and those frustrations reached a boiling point. Coming up in the next half hour, we'll explain why some commissioners are upset over last night's decision and what they'd like to see happen instead. We move now to the latest on the coronavirus in West Michigan. Tuesday, the new daily case count in Muskegon remained low, while both Ottawa and Kent counties witnessed a spike in new daily case counts. Take a look at your screen and you'll see that red circle off to the right. That's highlighting the jump in cases from Monday to Tuesday in Kent County. Case count jumped from 34 to 68. That's a 100% increase. Then in Ottawa County, again, look at your far right, that red circle, we're charting a major jump. And that case count rose from 6 on Monday to 19 Tuesday, nearly a 215% increase. We'd also like to note our data comes from accesskent.org, which reports all confirmed positive coronavirus cases. We're not calculating probable cases, so depending on which county site you use, those numbers could appear differently. Michigan is one of 5 states suing Education Secretary Betsy DeVos. The suit is over her policy on COVID-19 relief funding for schools. Attorney General Dana Nessel says under the plan, schools could lose out on funding intended for underprivileged students, and that's why she has joined 4 other state attorneys general in filing the lawsuit. Nearly $31 billion from the CARES Act was set aside for K-12 schools and higher education. Nessel claims DeVos's plan benefits private schools over public schools. She also says she plans to use all possible resources to fight for our teachers, students, and schools. The Michigan Education Association is also in support of this lawsuit. In a statement, they thank state leaders for standing up for public schools and families. Secretary DeVos is also calling for all schools to be fully operational this fall despite the pandemic. She criticized the districts which are considering in-person instruction only a few days a week. DeVos says part-time instruction fails both students and taxpayers. The president, also in support of fully reopening schools, expressing his stance by tweeting this, in part saying, "The Democrats don't want to open schools for political reasons, not for health reasons. They think it would help them in November." While the discussion to resume in-person learning lies in the hands of governors, the president said he will pressure state leaders to reopen schools. The story surrounding the death of a 16-year-old Kalamazoo teen develops as more evidence surfaces. Surveillance video released Tuesday shows a number of youth home workers in Kalamazoo restraining Cornelius Fredericks, who died 2 days later. Now, we will warn you that portions of this video may be difficult to watch. The incident involves Fredericks happening on April 29th. He then died on May 1st. Now, this video starts after Fredericks threw a sandwich in the Lakeside Academy cafeteria. The teenager is then tackled to the ground by 3 staff members. And as more time passes, more employees help hold Fredericks down before he eventually loses consciousness. Now, according to a state report, Fredericks was restrained for about 12 minutes before someone called 911 and then 15 minutes before anyone tried to save him.
Children are really.
Jeffrey Feiger noted the 18-minute video has been altered with gaps in that timeline. However, he says he does not know who edited the video. 3 employees have been charged with manslaughter, and Feiger says he wants more people seen in that video to be held responsible. Now, following the release of the video, Sequel Youth and Family Services, the parent company of Lakeside Academy, released this statement. It reads in part, "The actions taken by staff members in that video do not adhere to company policy and procedures." They also stated Lakeside staff members were trained in de-escalation techniques and restraints are only to be used when a student poses danger to themselves or others. Otherwise, restraint is not an appropriate first response. New this morning from Allegan County. A 75-year-old Allegan County man has died after his kayak flipped over in Monterey Lake. Now, it happened Tuesday around noon when sheriff's deputies arrived on scene. They found that kayak overturned. They pulled the man from the water, attempted life-saving techniques, but were unsuccessful. The man was not wearing a life jacket when he was found. Also, Kentwood police are asking for the public's help to find a man they say has the mental capacity of a teenager. 40-year-old Timothy Cahill was last seen near the intersection of 60th Street and South Division sometime after 7 p.m. Sunday. He was wearing a yellow and black t-shirt, brown shorts, and a yellow baseball cap. Again, Kentwood police tell us that Cahill does have a cognitive impairment. If you do see him, please call police. Now we're going to check back in with meteorologist Elena Nearing for another look of your humid forecast. Good morning, Elena. Helping provide meals for families impacted during the pandemic. Our 13 Food for Families campaign is underway. And if you're able, please donate to help several local organizations put food on the table for families in need. And you can donate by texting the word hunger to 616-559-1310 or visit our website at 13onyourside.com/hunger. Well, think about it. When was the last time you used coins to pay for anything? Probably not since I've been to the arcade. Well, if it's been a while, you're not alone. How the pandemic has led to a nationwide coin shortage and how you can do your part to fix it. It is 6:12. You're up with 13. Pandemic seemingly endless, and here's another one. A national coin shortage. We spoke with some banks here in West Michigan, and they say they are now receiving just half the amount of coins they typically received before COVID. Experts say things should improve as the government is set to release coin reserves as more parts of the country reopen. Local credit unions say you can also help. Now, we continue to learn more about the virus with the World Health Organization now releasing new findings just on how long that virus can hang around in the air. Let's connect the dots. Welcome back. Tense moments recently in Indiana, protests in wake of the 4th of July incident, and where you can see right here, a black man says a group of white men attacked him and allegedly threatened to get a noose. Now, that man says he thought he was going to be lynched. ABC's Trevor Ault has that story. NFL wide receiver Deshaun Jackson also in some hot water after posting anti-Semitic quotes on social media. On an Instagram story, Jackson, who plays for the Philadelphia Eagles, posted a quote from Adolf Hitler saying, "White Jews will blackmail America." He then shared 2 other posts applauding Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan, who the Anti-Defamation League has identified as anti-Semitic. These posts have since been deleted, and Jackson posted this apology to Instagram Tuesday. The Eagles and the NFL have issued statements condemning the post, but it's unclear yet if he'll be disciplined. Both the Eagles owner and the general manager are Jewish. And the United States says it is considering a ban on the popular social media app TikTok. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says the Trump administration views the app as a growing security threat. It is owned by a Chinese company and has up to 80 million monthly users in the U.S. Secretary Pompeo says they are also considering bans on other Chinese apps, saying some of these apps share users' data with the Chinese government. All right, coming up after the break, discussion in last night's Grand Rapids City Commission meeting got a little heated. The issue city officials were not able to agree on. Plus, the White House finalizes its decision to cut ties with the World Health Organization. More on that coming up in just a bit. The time right now is 6:26 and you're up with 13. Overnight shooting sends 1 man to the hospital. What police say happened just before shots were fired. The heated debate to defund the Grand Rapids Police, the new changes coming to the department, and why some city leaders are at odds. Plus, what Governor Whitmer says could happen next if cases of COVID-19 continue to rise. It's 6:30, and you're up with 13.
You're watching 13 on your side.
Good morning, West Michigan. I'm James. Meredith has the week off. We do have a lot of breaking news overnight to get to this morning. But first, let's get a quick check of our forecast with meteorologist Elena Nearing, who is soaking up the sun as our sunrise begins. Good morning, Elena. Following breaking news from overnight, a man is in serious condition after being shot in Wyoming. This happened at the Marathon gas station on South Division Avenue and 32nd Street around 12:30. Police say this started as a fight between the gunman and the victim. Police say there's also no suspect description, and so far, no one is in custody. Anyone with information is asked to call Wyoming Police or Silent Observer. Also breaking overnight, conversations over defunding the Grand Rapids Police Department ran into the early morning hours. In the end, city commissioners voted to reallocate $400,000 to create 3 new positions. These positions would be focused on community relations and would be held by civilians, not police officers. The city was also expected to vote on a proposal to cut the department's budget by $9 million, but that didn't happen. Shannon Grove joins us live to explain why some city leaders are very frustrated. Shannon, move to the fight against the coronavirus. New cases continue to rise statewide. And here are some of the latest numbers. More than 450 new cases have been reported, one of the highest daily totals in recent weeks. This brings the state's total to more than 66,000. Also, 30 more people have died, another big jump in recent days, though 20 of them were identified after a vital records review. As it stands, more than 6,000 people have lost their lives from the virus. That's the last thing Governor Whitmer wants, but if new cases of the virus continue to rise, the governor says she's prepared to roll back reopening plans. Governor Whitmer said this during an interview with CNN Tuesday. She says she's prepared to take the heat if that's what it takes to keep Michiganders healthy. Right now, much of Michigan is in phase 4 of reopening, meaning many non-essential businesses are still closed, including movie theaters and gyms. But recently, beauty salons, malls, and restaurants were allowed to reopen. But the governor says that could change if we continue to see a spike in cases. Later this morning, the Joint Committee will meet in Lansing to investigate the state's response to the pandemic. They will also address issues with Michigan's unemployment. We will, of course, follow today's developments in Lansing and share those updates to you both on air and online. Now, you've likely seen this viral video. The Cass County Prosecutor's Office has requested a special prosecutor to look into this large gathering at Diamond Lake. The request was made because of a conflict of interest. Cass County's prosecutor says he's a long-standing affiliation with one of the lake associations involved. This video came from a 4th of July celebration at the lake and shows around 150 people partying at the sandbar. As you can see, no one is social distancing and no one, of course, is wearing a mask. Nationwide, hospitals are being pushed to the brink as new cases of COVID-19 continue to surge. The nation is now approaching 3 million coronavirus cases. That's more than any other country in the world. The United States death toll has also reached a sobering new mark. Over 131,000 people have died from COVID-19. Yesterday, President Trump and his top infectious disease experts bumped heads on how the country is handling the pandemic. Quick sports news for you. Another pro league is set to return today, Major League Soccer. The MLS is Back tournament will kick off tonight 4 months after the season was suspended. The month-long tournament is being held at the ESPN Wide World of Sports complex in Orlando, and it's already a bumpy return to action as FC Dallas had to drop out of the tournament entirely after the team had too many team members test positive for COVID-19. The first match is tonight at 8 o'clock on ESPN. We're going to check back in with meteorologist Elena Nearing. And Elena, I'm not sure if you noticed up there in northern Kent County, but it is coming down here in Walker. Just ahead, where you can go today to get tested for COVID-19 completely free of charge. And the race is heating up to find a cure for the coronavirus. An inside look at what it takes for a vaccine to be approved. The time now is 6:43. You're up with 13. Elena Nearing is joining us once again. In Elena, the rain stopped for about 35 seconds, and I can hear it from inside the studio here that it's picked back up again. It feels like the weather is just playing with my emotions today.